Good evening, everybody. Kevin here. It's about 3 o'clock in the morning because I can't sleep, and rather than pining away watching more YouTube videos until I drift off, I figure I'd watch a movie that I've been meaning to watch for many years and haven't. All About Eve. My film catalog of movies that I've watched in the first half of the 20th century is actually really pretty limited. I can, talk about some of the movies from what I know about them and sound like I know what I'm talking about sometimes. But, beyond like, I really like The Wizard of Oz, there's not a whole lot of earlier American cinema that I could really speak intelligently to, and I need to fix that. And this is a first step in that. Why not start big with the 1950 Academy Award winner for Best Picture? Obviously Betty Davis won Best Actress. I didn't need to look any of this up. This is just stuff you kind of know if you like movies. Although, and this is true, a couple of years ago I was at a restaurant with Joe and other people, and the song Betty Davis Eyes was playing on their Muzak. Actually, it was just the radio, whatever satellite music. It wasn't Muzak. It was actually the song. And a girl was next to Joe and asked him, like, who is Betty Davis? And he said, I don't know. So I got to be the smart sounding one there and be like, well, I mean, she was, one of the biggest actresses of the first half of the 20th century. But I can say that, but I can't talk too much about her performances. I know what she looks like. I've never seen one of her films. I at the time, I quoted out the line, or some close approximation of the line, fasten your seatbelts, it's going to be a bumpy night. That's literally the only thing I've ever heard come out of Betty Davis's mouth. It's iconic, obviously, so I'm sure in some clip show of something is where I saw that. And, it's pretty much, in the zeitgeist. But I'm pretty sure that's from this film. Other than that, I don't know anything about it. When I was pulling the movie up, I saw that she, those 2 Academy Awards plus, it won a couple other Academy Awards, including Supporting Actor. I'm not going to lie, and I'm sorry, I did not recognize George something. I did not recognize the actor that won Best Supporting Actor for this. So this will be a new fun experience for me. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into it. I do want to thank, all of our Patreon subscribers for being here with us. I hope you guys enjoy a little classic cinema as well. Give a special thank you to Actuarial Lurker, Balash Fuldes, Chris, Derek Peterson, Jeff, Christy Goverston, NJ, Sudugunda Horapu, Torgir Linkstad, Weird Magic, WerePanda47, and Jamie Morgan. Really glad you're here, guys. If you would like to see a full-length reaction to this and everything else we've watched or we're currently watching, please check out a link in the description below to our Patreon page. On everything on Patreon, you will have to sync and watch along on your own source material due to copyright law. And so we should jump into it now because by the time I'm done with this movie, it'll be time to my pets will be on top of me for their breakfast. And the old 20th Century Fox logo. George Sanders. Okay. That was the Academy Award winner for this for supporting. Oh, Marilyn Monroe's in this. I did not know that.
It has been spared the sensational and commercial publicity that attends such questionable honors as the Pulitzer Prize. Being an actor, he will go on speaking for some time. It is not important that you hear what he says.
Is this a comedy? I don't even know what this is tonally.
The minor awards, as you can see, have already been presented. Minor awards are for such as the writer and director. And no brighter light has ever dazzled the eye than Eve Harrington.
To those of you who do not read, attend the theater, listen to unsponsored radio programs, or know anything of the world in which you live.
That's really funny.
My name is Addison DeWitt. My native habitat is the theater.
I like the shot he took at people listening to radio with commercials.
This is Karen Richards. She is the wife of a playwright, therefore of the theater by marriage.
Oh my God. What a snob.
The following year, Karen became Mrs. Lloyd Richards.
And he doesn't even want to be there.
Margot
This is clever. There we are.
Margot is a great star, a true star. She never was or will be anything less or anything else.
So is the critic going to narrate the entire movie?
And never before has this award gone to anyone younger than its recipient tonight.
I love the affected voice because it's not out of place in this movie because these are all performers playing performers.
The Sarah Siddons Award to Miss Eve Harrington.
Okay, I do not know this actress, but yes, she is young to be given a Lifetime Achievement Award in the theater. Okay. Intrigue.
You all know all about Eve. What can there be to know that you don't know?
Only last October.
Oh, that coat's gonna look great splattered in red paint.
I'd become so accustomed to seeing her there night after night.
Mrs. Richards.
There you are. What do you do in between the time Margot goes in and comes out?
I see the play.
You see the play? You've seen every performance of this play?
Yes.
Apart from everything else, don't you find it expensive?
That was my first thought,
And
too.
it doesn't cost much.
Oh, yes, she's got to meet you.
No, I'd be imposing on her.
I always worry about that if I met a celebrities also. I was like, I don't want to be just another person bothering somebody.
Name? Eve Harrington.
I remember a woman that called in the radio station when Titanic was a thing. Remember that? She said she'd seen it 87 straight days in the theater, and that was my first thought was, how many hundreds of dollars have you spent on Titanic?
Lloyd, honey, be a playwright with guts. Write me one about a nice, normal woman who just shoots her husband.
I find these wisecracks increasingly less funny. Aged in Wood happens to be a fine and distinguished play. I can't see that Lloyd's plays have hurt you any.
Easy now.
Oh, relax,
Yeah.
kid. It's just me and my big mouth.
Talented, famous, wealthy, people waiting around night after night just to see you. There's one indoors right now.
Yeah, that's
I
a
brought her
terrible
back to see
segue.
you.
You what?
You've got to see her. She worships you. It's like something out of a book.
Oh, the mousy one with the trench coat and the funny hat.
There's something depressing about that attitude. Also, let's face it, celebrity obsession isn't healthy either.
I thought you'd forgotten about me.
Oh, not at all. Margot, this is Eve Harrington.
And this is my dear friend and companion, Miss Bertie Coonan.
Oh, brother. All of a sudden, she's playing Hamlet's mother.
Well, then, am I safe in assuming you like it?
I'd like anything Miss Channing played in.
Oh my God. This is like some single white female stuff.
Your new play is for Miss Channing, isn't it?
Of course it is.
If I didn't come to see the play, I wouldn't have anywhere else to go.
Oh my God.
Plays.
It started with the play before this one,
Remembrance.
Remembrance.
Did you see it here in New York?
San Francisco.
Why don't you start at the beginning?
Oh, I guess it started back home. Wisconsin, that is. But somehow, acting and make-believe began to fill up my life more and more. It got so I couldn't tell the real from the unreal. Went to Milwaukee, became a secretary. In a brewery. That's where I met Eddie. He was a radio technician. Then the war came, and we got married.
Oh, there's a tragic ending for her here.
One week he wrote me he had a leave coming up. I went to San Francisco to meet him. They forwarded the telegram from Milwaukee.
Oh
The one that came
no.
from Washington, that Eddie was dead. And then one night, Margot Channing came to play in Remembrance.
Boy, she has a meteoric rise after this, doesn't she?
47
been-ish
minutes
for
from
her.
now, my plane takes off, and how do I find you? Not ready yet, looking like a junkyard. Zanuck is impatient. He wants me. He needs me.
Zanuck, what are you two lovers?
Well, in some ways, you're pretty.
Didn't Zanuck produce this? Did I catch that?
I love a psychotic. No, stick around, please. Tell you what, we'll put Stanislavski on his plane, you and I, and then go somewhere and talk.
Man, the way celebrities looked at has really changed a lot over the decades, hasn't it?
Good luck, genius.
Geniuses don't need good luck. I do.
Good night, Eve. I hope I see you again soon.
I'll be at the old stand tomorrow matinee.
Of course all of this goes bad.
Mrs. Richards, I'll never forget this night as long as I live.
Well, going back to the awards show and the two of them not really responding, I'm kind of wondering how it all goes bad.
So you're going to Hollywood?
Mm-hmm.
Why you have to go out there?
I don't have to. I want to.
Why, if you're the best and most successful young director in the theater?
The theater, the theater. You want to know what the theater is? A flea circus.
He's a cynic.
So don't approve or disapprove. May not be your theater, but it's theater for somebody, somewhere. And I shut my mouth off. Nothing personal, Junior. No offense.
Where's my coat?
Right where you left it.
Oh.
the seams.
Well, this movie has a lot to say about movies, doesn't it? Or the transition, I guess, from stage to Hollywood.
She's quite a girl, this what's-her-name.
Eve, I'd forgotten they grew that way.
That lack of pretense, that sort of strange directness.
Suddenly I've developed a big protective feeling toward her. A lamb loose in our big stone jungle.
Well, she ends up very successful, so she might not be quite as naive as they think.
You're a setup for some gorgeous, wide-eyed young babe.
How childish are you going to get before you stop it?
Am I going to lose you, Bill? Am I?
As of this moment, you're 6 years old.
Already?
Boy, that's quite timing there.
Get me a muffler?
Call me when you get it.
So the worry is that he's going to run off and fall in love with a starlet because that's how Hollywood works.
Keep your eye on her. Don't let her get lonely. She's a loose lamb in a jungle.
Don't worry.
The cool days when you just walk right out onto the tarmac and take the stairs up to your plane. This kind of has a little bit of Talented Mr. Ripley vibes.
She moved into the little guest room on the top floor.
Is she sincere or is she an interloper?
Eve became my sister, lawyer, mother, friend, psychiatrist, and cop.
So apparently it's not just Eve. She's really crushing it in this play.
What again?
Oh, I could watch you play that last scene 1,000 times. Cry every time.
You bought the new girdles a size smaller. I can feel it. We get home, you're going to get into one of those girdles and act for 2.5 hours.
I couldn't get into the girdle in 2.5 hours.
That's good. I'm really glad how they opened this movie because you can definitely tell, even though it's light right now, there's an ominous feel hanging over it.
While you're cleaning up, I'll just take this to the wardrobe, mistress.
Oh, there it is.
We'd better let Mrs. Brown pick up the wardrobe.
Oh, that was a good long awkward long shot there.
We are ready with your call to Beverly Hills.
Call? What call? Place.
Go ahead, please.
Margot,
Weird.
what a wonderful surprise.
Did Eve set this phone call up?
Sleep tight.
Hey, wait a minute. You can't hang up yet. You haven't even said it.
Bill, it's your birthday. Happy birthday, darling. Birthday and coming home. Who'll I ask?
It's no secret. I know all about the party. Eve wrote me.
Well, Eve is taking over your life. Yeah, Eve might be stepping over some lines here. This is how it starts. I feel like this was predictable, though. I mean, she's such an obsessive fan. Maybe obsessive fans weren't, what we know about him now was a different thing.
Don't like Eve, do you?
No.
Why not?
Now you want an argument.
She's loyal and efficient.
Like an agent with only one client.
Yeah, I mean, really. That was a good camera push.
She thinks only of me.
Well, let's say she thinks only about you anyway. Like she's studying you. Like it was a play or a book or a set of blueprints.
Yeah, the doubt's finally coming in.
By any chance did you place a call from me to Bill?
Last night I meant to tell you before you went out with the Richards. I guess I was asleep when you got home.
She's a lot, isn't she?
As a matter of fact, I sent him a telegram myself.
So I'm assuming her husband's death kind of broke her a little bit.
Bill's welcome home birthday party. A night to go down in history. I could smell disaster in the air.
I can too.
Does Miss Channing know that she ordered domestic gin by mistake?
The only thing I ordered by mistake is the guest. Miss Billy's late.
Late for what? And he's been here for 20 minutes.
Well, I certainly think it's odd he hasn't even come up to.
Was he down with Eve? Oh, yeah.
Don't let me kill the point, or isn't it a story for grown-ups?
You've heard it. About the time I looked through the wrong end of the camera finder.
So she is an interloper, for sure.
I had no idea you were even here.
Well, I ran into Eve on my way upstairs, and she told me you were dressing.
Her loyalty, efficiency, devotion, warmth, and affection, and so young.
Here it is, the jealousy, yeah.
I can't believe you're making this up. You know what I feel about this age obsession of yours, and now this ridiculous attempt to whip yourself up into a jealous froth because I spent 10 minutes with a stage-struck kid.
And I'll have you know I'm fed up with both the young lady and her qualities.
Now, how can you take offense at a kid trying in every way to be as much like her ideal as possible?
Stop calling her a kid.
totally get it, for sure.
You have to keep your teeth sharp. All right.
Yeah.
But I will not have you sharpen them on me.
What about her fangs?
She hasn't cut them yet, and you know it.
I get where he's coming from, but I'm not sure.
And to intimate anything else doesn't spell jealousy to me. It spells a paranoid insecurity that you should be ashamed of.
Cut, print it. What happens in the next reel? Thank you, Eve. I'd like a martini, very dry.
I'll get it.
A martini. Very dry, please.
I think dry martinis are gross, but I'm not much of a drinker.
Hello, Mrs. Richard. How are you, dear?
Hello, Eve. I like that girl. That quality of quiet graciousness.
This is not the time.
Margot, nothing you've ever done has made me as happy as you're taking Eve in.
I'm so happy you're happy.
This is done so well because I honestly can't tell if Eve has any nefarious qualities or if it's just everyone's insecurity. It could go either way.
The kid, Junior that is, will be down in a minute unless you'd like to take her drink up to her.
The general atmosphere is very Macbethish. What has or is about to happen?
Yeah.
We know you. We've seen you like
That's
this
a really
before.
funny reference for this.
Is it over or is it just beginning?
Yeah, are you sharpening your claws for somebody?
Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
It's a great line. What a great delivery, too.
Dear Margot, you were an unforgettable Peter Pan. You must play it again soon.
We've never met. Maybe that's why.
Miss Caswell is an actress.
I had no idea you two knew each other.
This must be at long last our formal introduction.
You've heard of her great interest in the theater.
We have that in common.
Then you two must have a long talk.
You won't bore him, honey. You won't even get a chance to talk.
This is such a witty script.
She'll be in safe hands.
Amen.
Is Margot going to blow this up tonight? Is it going to be her? I feel like it is. I count 3 martini glasses. 1 in her hand and 2 on the piano in front of her.
The remains of Margot Channing. Sitting up. If my guests do not like it here, I suggest they accompany you to the nursery.
God.
You by any chance haven't got any bicarbonate of soda in the house?
Poor Max. Of course I've got bicarb. I've got a box in the pantry.
See, I feel like now if she tries to get rid of Eve, and I think she will, the damage is done. Everyone else loves her.
I love you, Max.
She loves me like a father. Also, she's loaded.
Yeah, that's really funny. He has to reassure her husband.
I made a promise.
To Miss Caswell? What?
Well, for an audition, you know, for this part we are replacing.
Tell you what. Why don't I read with her?
Would you?
And now you can do me a great favor. Give Eve Harrington a job in your office.
Yeah, she does want to get rid of her.
Well, what will she do?
Oh, she'd be a great help. She'd read scripts.
I don't think it's such a good idea.
Promise.
Promise.
There is so much going on here.
How's the new one coming?
The play? Oh, all right, I guess.
Still a girl of 20.
That's still a Hollywood thing, isn't it?
Lloyd, I'm not 20-ish. I'm not 30-ish. 40. 40. That slipped out. I hadn't quite made up my mind to admit it.
Yeah.
Bill's 32. He looks 32. I hate men.
Honey, that standard hasn't changed in 80 years.
You've done your share, Eve. You've worked wonders with Margot.
I'm about to ask you for another favor. After all you've done already. When I heard Mr. Fabian tell Miss Channing that her understudy was going to have a baby.
And you want to be Margot's new understudy.
I don't let myself think about it even. Suppose I had to go on one night.
Well, I wouldn't worry too much about that. Margot just doesn't miss performances.
Isn't this how Meryl Streep got started?
Do you think Miss Channing would approve?
I think she'd cheer.
Would you speak to Mr. Fabian about it?
Of course.
You won't forget?
I won't forget.
And here it starts.
Every now and then, some elder statesman of the theatre or cinema assures the public that actors and actresses are just plain folks. Is their complete lack of resemblance to normal human beings.
For sure, that I agree with.
We're a breed apart from the rest of humanity, we theater folk.
I'll admit there's a screwball element in the theater.
I can see your career rising in the East like the sun.
Yeah, we all did. What a tragedy.
I was saying that the theater is 9/10 hard work.
What was Marilyn Monroe's first movie? Is it this? Or was she around longer than this?
To be a good actor or actress or anything else in the theater means wanting to be that more than anything else in the world.
Why, if there's nothing else, there's applause. Like waves of love coming over the footlights and wrapping you up.
Oh, wow.
Just that alone is worth anything.
No one else is seeing this is a little bit red flaggy, right? No one else in this crazy world.
And please stop acting as if I were the Queen Mother.
Oh, and she's going to come across as so mean.
Please don't play governess, Karen. I haven't your unyielding good taste. And you pose as a playwright. A situation pregnant with possibilities, and all you can think of is everybody go to sleep.
God, this is so good.
Cut it out.
This is my house, not a theater.
Margot is cutting her own throat here and elevating Eve.
It's about time Margot realized that what's attractive on stage need not necessarily be attractive off.
All right. And we who are about to die salute you.
God, by comparison, Eve looks like such a saint.
We're going to miss the third act. Played off stage.
Eve, you mustn't mind Margot too much, even if I do.
She has to pick on someone. I'd just as soon it was me.
Everyone loves a martyr.
You won't forget, will you? What we talked about before.
No, Eve, I won't forget.
Boy, Margot picked the wrong day to have that particular drunken meltdown.
It's good luck before an audition. She'll be all right once it starts.
Miss Caswell got lucky too late. The audition is over. The audition was called for 2:30, and it's now nearly 4.
Who read with Miss Caswell?
It'll be Eve.
Bill?
No, I refer to your new and unpregnant understudy, Miss Eve Harrington.
Oh, that's going to blow her up.
How, was Miss Caswell?
Frankly, I don't remember.
Is it not that she was so bad, it's that Eve was so good?
Once in a great while, I experience that moment of revelation for which all true believers wait and pray. Eve Harrington will be among them. It wasn't a reading, it was a performance. Brilliant, vivid, something made of music and fire.
Oh, no.
That Lloyd felt as he did only because she read his lines exactly as he'd written them.
The implication being that I have not been reading them as
Oh,
written.
my God. Oh, my God. She's got to be dying.
Ah, Margot, darling.
The coat over the face. Oh, she's going to lose it. She's going to lose her temper. This is not going to go well.
Where's Miss Caswell? Shall we start? Oh, hello,
Oh.
Eve.
Hello, Miss Chandler.
Eve read with Miss Caswell.
Eve? Oh, how enchanting.
She's your understudy.
Eve, my understudy? I had no idea.
Oh, I thought you knew. She was put on over a week ago.
If you'd been here to begin with, I never would have dared to read at all.
Why not?
If you'd come in the middle, I would have stopped.
All that fire and music being turned off.
What fire and music.
You-
She was a revelation.
Oh, to you, too. It must have been a revelation to have a 24-year-old character played by a 24-year-old actress. To have your lines read just as you wrote them.
Addison.
Yeah.
You knew when you came in that the audition was over, that Eve was your understudy, playing that childish little game of cat
Yeah.
and mouse.
Not mouse. When you listen as if someone else had written your play, who
Yeah.
do you have in mind? Arthur Miller, Sherwood?
You'd better stick to Beaumont and Fletcher. They've been dead for 300 years.
All playwrights should be dead for 300 years.
That would solve none of their problems because actresses never die.
So is Eve going to get the part in his new play, the 20-something he's been writing?
Stars never die and never change.
You may change this star anytime you want.
Oh, this is blowing up.
I shall never understand the weird process by which a body with a voice suddenly fancies itself as a mind.
Whoa.
It's about time the piano
Wow.
realized it has not written a concerto.
Where is Princess Fire and Music?
He ran her off.
It's gone.
I must have frightened her away.
The gong rang. The fight's over. Calm down.
I will
Yeah.
not calm down. Being my understudy for over a week without my knowing it. Arrives here for an audition when everyone knows I will be here. Full of fire and music and whatnot. Full of those Bill Sampson touches.
I am sick and tired of these paranoid outbursts. You've got to stop hurting yourself and me and the two of us by these paranoid tantrums.
Oh, that word again.
I love you.
Ha!
Now, once and for all, stop it.
But it seems like her paranoia might be a little bit justified.
Margot, let's make peace. Just being happy. Just stopping all this nonsense about Eve. You've had so many reasons for not wanting to marry. Margot, tell me what's behind all this.
Just crippling insecurity, yeah.
I can't think of anything else to do. I wish I could.
You know, there isn't a playwright in the world who could make me believe this would happen between two adult people. Goodbye, Margot.
Yeah, that sucks.
Where are you going? To find Eve?
That suddenly makes the whole thing believable.
Yeah. Boy, but with their relationship, the title of the movie really fits, right?
Lloyd, what's happened?
Up to here. That's where I've got it. Up to here. Karen, let me tell you about Eve. She's got everything. A born actress.
Margot hasn't done badly by it.
Margot's great. She knows it. That's the trouble.
We're driving out to the country tomorrow night. Just the four of us. Bill, Margot, you, and I.
Yeah, they're not all going.
My big idea came to me just sitting on a couch. It would all seem perfectly legitimate. And there were only 2 people in the world who would know. And after all, it was no more than a perfectly harmless joke, which Margot herself would be the first to enjoy.
This is why she's not clapping at the awards ceremony. This all blows up, doesn't it?
Will you please call Miss Eve Harrington to the phone? What time is it?
When you ask again a minute from now,
I
it will
just don't want Margot to miss her train. As it is, she'll barely make the theater.
You know, what's this?
Car braking. Eve is going to go on. She's not going to make it back.
But it can't be. We can't be out of gas. I filled it myself yesterday.
You know I don't pay attention to those things.
Just incredible.
You're not going to make it.
No sense in just sitting here. I'm going to walk up about a half a mile, just in case.
Come to think of it, I haven't been very pleasant for weeks. For that, I'm truly sorry.
Did she set this up? Is that what her little joke is? Is she set up this running out of gas?
More than anything in this world, I love Bill. And I want Bill. And I want him to want me.
That is some
Margot,
serious
Bill
insecurity.
is all of 8 years younger than you.
And those years stretch as the years go on. I've seen it happen too often. About Eve. I've acted pretty disgracefully toward her, too. Funny business, a woman's career. The things you drop on your way up the ladder so you can move faster.
So she's becoming gracious just as everything's about to explode in her face.
Margot, I want you to know how sorry I am about this.
Don't give it a thought. One of Destiny's merry pranks. After all, you didn't personally drain the gasoline tank yourself.
Yes, she did.
Eve, of course, was superb. How thoughtful of her to call and invite me that afternoon.
Oh, my God.
Several representatives of other newspapers happened to be present.
You were better than all right, kid. You gave a performance. You rang a bell.
Are you proud of me, Bill?
I'll admit I was worried when Max called. With work and patience, she'll be a good actress.
Is that what you want me to be?
I'm talking about you and what you want.
So am I.
Oh, wow. This is a turn.
Don't run away, Bill.
From what would I be running? I'm in love with Margot. Hadn't you heard?
You hear all kinds of things.
What I go after, I want to go after. I don't want it to come after me. Just score it as an incomplete forward pass.
Good for you, Bill. Okay, so we're finally seeing a little bit of a sinister side of Eve.
Of course, your performance was no surprise to me. After the other day, I regarded it as no more than a promise fulfilled.
I'm just the carbon copy you read when you can't find the original.
I think the time has come for you to shed some of your humility. It is just as false not to blow your horn at all as it is to blow it too loudly.
It'll be forgotten tomorrow.
Yeah, this is all calculated, wasn't it?
I shall want to do a column about you.
I'm not even enough for a paragraph.
Fanatical attachment to Margot. It started
Yeah.
in San Francisco, didn't it?
That's right.
What theater was it in San Francisco? Was it the
She's a
Schubert?
complete fraud.
Yes, the Schubert.
Tell me, what was your husband's name?
I'm about to go into the shower. I won't be able to hear you.
Oh, well, it can wait.
Okay, so my early skepticism of her is very much on point. And then, of course, I fell for it, too, like everyone.
Oh, Eve! I've heard the most wonderful things about your performance.
We're having lunch with a movie talent scout.
Well, they certainly don't waste much time, do they?
I was going to say, she doesn't like Hollywood. She wanted to do on the stage.
Margot lunching in public?
Oh, it's a new Margot, but she's just as late as the old one.
She may be later than you think.
Yeah, the damage is done.
Why not read my column to pass the time?
And so my hat, which has, lo, these many seasons become more firmly rooted about my ears, is lifted to Miss Harrington about the understandable reluctance on the part of our entrenched first ladies of the stage to encourage, shall we say, younger actresses. What gets me is how all the papers in town happen to catch that particular performance. I shall personally stuff that pathetic little lost lamb down Mr. DeWitt's ugly throat.
I came as soon as I read that piece of filth. I ran all the way.
Now they're realizing who Eve is.
Bill's here, baby.
It's Addison from start to finish. It drips with his brand of venom.
Eve?
She's been to see me. As a matter of fact, she left just before you came in. You just missed her. If, instead of waiting until next season to do Footsteps on the Ceiling, we could put Footsteps into production right away.
I'm beginning to catch up. Maybe
You-
get some younger actress for the part.
Yeah, you want
Someone
Eve.
who look the part as well as play it.
Eve did mention the play, but just in passing. She
I
never
bet.
asked to play a part like Cora. She never had the nerve.
Lloyd Richards, you are not to consider giving that contemptible little worm the part of Cora.
She apologized, didn't she?
On her knees, I've no doubt.
Yeah, all these guys keep calling her an innocent little kid, and that's clearly not the case.
I'm glad Bill's back.
I am too.
Die without each other.
I told her you were set on Margot playing the part, and I certainly wouldn't make a change without your approval.
Just refer all of Miss Eve Harrington's future requests to me.
Yeah, you just got played, man.
I understand that your understudy, Miss Harrington, has given her notice.
Too bad.
I'm broken up about it. To Margot. To my bride-to-be.
Good.
Glory, hallelujah.
Well, of all
Drake.
you... We want you two beside us as our nearest and dearest friends.
Which we are.
He's still gonna blow it up with Eve in the play, right?
May we never be farther apart. Very indiscreet. Note in the open like that.
But it's most important that I speak with you. Please, meet me in the ladies' room. Eve. Well, look. There's Rasputin.
I have no possible interest in anything she'd have to say.
But what could she say? That's what fascinates me.
I am busting to find out what's going on in that feverish little brain waiting in there.
You guys are underestimating how this girl works.
All right.
I think Eve's been playing the long game since the movie started, and very well. Oh, this is good.
I was wondering whether you'd come at all.
Don't get up.
I don't expect you to be pleasant. I don't intend to be. You find yourself trying to say what you mean. But somehow the words change. And suddenly you're not saying what you mean, but what he means.
Is this
you
working?
You really have a low opinion of me, haven't you?
You have a powerful friend in Addison.
He's not my friend. You were my friends.
He can help you.
I want my friends back.
Oh, wow, this really worked. I don't believe it.
And believe it or not, if there's anything I can do.
There is something.
You want to play Cora. You want me to tell Lloyd I think you should play it.
If you told him so, he'd give me the part. He said he would.
See, yeah.
I don't think anything in the world would make me say that.
Addison wants me to play it. Addison knows how Margot happened to miss that performance.
See, here's the threat.
Addison could make quite a thing of it. Imagine how snide and vicious he could get and still tell nothing but the truth. If I play Cora, Addison will never tell what happened. I'm so happy I can do something for you at long last. What would happen to it, do you think, if she knew the cheap trick you'd played on her for my benefit?
Yeah, Eve is evil.
You do all that just for a part in a play.
I'd do much more for a part that good.
Yeah, Eve's the devil.
Karen and I had a nice talk.
Heart to heart, woman to woman.
She'll be happy to do what she can to see that I play.
So she didn't tell Addison about the gas thing.
Sometimes I think you keep things from me.
Say a thing like that now without any reason, when I need you more than ever.
Wow, and now she's on to playing him.
We have a great deal in common, it seems to me.
So the theater critic is the bad guy.
She apologized.
With tears. With tears.
What did you say?
Not much.
There they go.
I like how she doesn't want to talk about Eve.
There goes
She's the only
Eve.
one talking about Eve.
Eve.
You know, she probably means well after all.
Oh my God.
Never try to outguess Margot.
Boy, Karen's going to carry this guilt forever.
Will you promise not to be angry with me?
Well, that depends.
I don't want to play Cora.
What?
It means I've finally got a life to live. I don't have to play parts I'm too old for.
Okay, good. This is good, actually, for her.
Only you do understand, don't you?
What's so funny?
Nothing.
Well,
Nothing.
This is kind of a bullet dodge, maybe. Yeah, for her. Oh, Karen.
Bill, oddly enough, refused to direct the play at first, with Eve in it. I'd never known Bill and Lloyd to fight as bitterly and often, and always over some business for Eve. Somehow, Eve kept them going, and I thought it might be best if I skipped rehearsals from then on.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to go watch that toxicity.
That helplessness you feel when you have no talent to offer, outside of loving your husband.
I room across the hall from Eve Harrington, and she isn't well. She's been crying all night, and she's upstairs in her room. I really hate to bother you this way, but...
Tell her not to worry. Tell her I'll be right over.
What a day. What a heavenly day.
And tomorrow morning you will have won your beachhead on the shores of immortality.
Is this a green screen? The shot looks weird. Or in front of a, not for green screen, but a rear projection screen.
I thought I'd be panic-stricken. Want to run away or something. It'll be a night to remember. It'll bring me everything I've ever wanted. Plenty of time for a nice long nap.
You could sleep now, couldn't you? The mark of a true killer.
We're having everyone up after the performance. Lloyd and I.
I find it odd that Karen isn't here for the opening, don't you?
I don't.
I didn't mean just the theater. Lloyd Richards. He's going to leave Karen. We're going to be married.
I should have seen this coming.
Lloyd loves me. I love him. There's no telling how far we can go.
Yeah, he
He'll
got
write
right through
great
it there.
plays for me.
Poor Karen.
He woke me up at 3 o'clock in the morning, banging on my door. He couldn't sleep, he said. He'd left Karen.
Oh, my God.
We sat and talked until it was light. He never went home. Well, say something. Anything.
You're the devil. How about that?
Is it possible, even conceivable, that you've confused me with that gang of backward children you play tricks on? I am Addison DeWitt. I'm nobody's fool, least of all yours. Lloyd may leave Karen, but he will not leave Karen for you. I've come here to tell you that you will not marry Lloyd, or anyone else for that matter, because I will not permit it. Because after tonight, you will belong to me.
The research on all of her lies?
That you and I...
Whoa.
Now remember, as long as you live, never to laugh at me. At anything or anyone else, but never at me. Don't pick up that phone. Don't even touch it. Something told you to do what I said, didn't it? To begin with, your name is not Eve Harrington. It's Gertrude Straczynski. In fact, it got less and less dull until your boss's wife had your boss followed by detectives.
She never proved
Oh my
anything
God.
on thing.
There was
I don't buy the tears.
No pilot. You've never been married. San Francisco has no Schubert Theater. You've never been to San Francisco. That was a stupid lie.
I had to get in to meet Margot. I had to say something, be somebody, make her like me.
You paid her back by trying to take Bill away.
That's not true.
I was there. I saw you and
Yeah.
heard you through the dressing room door. Now, do you want to change your story about Lloyd beating at your door the other night?
Please.
Oh, the phone call, yeah.
You're an improbable person, Eve, and so am I. We have that in common. Also a contempt for humanity, an inability to love and be loved.
So the critic is a terrible guy, too.
And you realize and you agree how completely you belong to me.
What does that mean? I know where he's going to belong to me. Does that mean like romantically? Or that he just controls her? Okay, these two deserve each other. Kind of reminds me of the end of Gone Girl. Just two awful people that are stuck together and deserve each other.
For me to thank you as equals would be presumptuous.
Oh my God, this act now.
The larger share belongs to my friends in the theater.
It's so crazy to see through her now, isn't it?
Karen. Mrs. Lloyd Richards.
Ugh. So they're still married then? Because I really hope so.
A great actress and a great woman. Margot Channing.
Oh my God. Daggers.
Bill Sampson.
God, they all hate her. They all hate her.
One, how can I repay Lloyd Richard?
Oh my God, this is great.
Although I am going to Hollywood next week to make a film,
Okay, so she is doing that. She's doing the thing that she said she wouldn't.
my heart is here in the theater. I'll be back to claim it. That is, if you want me back.
Oh my God, this false modesty. I'm glad that she didn't actually ruin their marriage. I don't know why I'm so happy about that, but I am.
Congratulations, Eve. But I wouldn't worry too much about your heart. You can always put that award where your heart ought to be.
I agree.
I don't suppose there's a drink left.
You can have one at Max's.
I don't think I'm going.
I'll drop you off. I should go to the party alone. I have no intention of missing it.
Maybe it's just the period language, but I don't really understand, Addison saying you belong to me now, what that all entailed. Like, has he kind of forced a romantic relationship with her? Or just that he's in charge of her? Who's that?
Who are you?
I guess I fell asleep.
Oh, is she her own Eve?
You know the Eve Harrington clubs that they have in most of the girls' high schools.
I've heard of them.
I'm the president.
So is this a high school girl?
Erasmus Hall.
That spilled drink's gonna ruin your carpet.
Maid'll fix it in the morning.
I don't care if I never get home.
God.
I'll get it.
So she gets her own interloper now.
Miss Harrington's resting, Mr. DeWitt. She asked me to see who it is.
Miss Harrington left her award in the taxicab. Will you give it to her? Do you want someday to have an award like that of your own?
More than anything else in the world.
And the wheels on the bus go round and round.
Just a taxi driver, Miss Harrington. You left your award in his cabin. He brought it back.
I want to pack it.
Sure, Miss Harrington.
Can I go with you to Hollywood? You get to the top and then some young kid comes along to knock you off. Now stand in the mirror and pretend. Oh, what a great shot! Look at that! That is amazing! Oh man. Okay. Wow, that was good. That was so much fun. It was heavy, it was melodramatic, but it was also funny and didn't take itself incredibly seriously. It was so cynical. God, what a dark look at performing it at Hollywood and the theater. The idea that no one stays on top, that it's all fleeting, insecurities can be preyed upon. God, Eve was, I was skeptical of her for a while, but then I completely fell into her charms for the entire middle of the movie. I thought, oh no, Eve is this genuinely nice person, and Margot is being insecure and jealous about her presence, and Eve's goodness is endearing herself to everyone else, and Margot's awfulness is just like exacerbating that shift of everyone's loyalties from Margot to Eve. But no, Eve was calculating and playing that up the entire time. Eve is a borderline sociopath. Man, well, wow, what a perfect... And by the way, this movie was perfectly cast too. Everyone was really, really strong in their roles. I do like the fact that, by the end we ended up with our two villain characters really were the actress, the up-and-coming actress that had to really manipulate her way into the world, and the very cynical and sort of pompous theater critic. You gotta kind of wonder how the extent to which the people who made the movie, kind of tongue-in-cheek, were taking a shot at film critics in general, or film and theater critics. God, this was a lot of fun. Really, really strong actors as well. Obviously, Bette Davis is Bette Davis. This was the first thing I've actually seen her in. She does have amazing eyes. The song is apropos. I knew that before I watched it. I certainly know what she looked like. But my God, she was later in her career, right, for this. Like, her career had gone on, I'm not sure if she was a silent film actress before, obviously transitioning quite well into the talkies. But she was great. She was utterly fantastic. But this was so well written. I mean, it was such witty, sharp dialogue. That's a movie worth revisiting just for the screenplay. I didn't catch if it was nominated or won a screenplay Oscar, but it was utterly fantastic, the writing in this. The characters were really strong. I like the way the manipulation worked. I don't know the actress who played Eve. I saw her name in the credits, obviously, but I'm not familiar with her. I don't remember what her name was, but she really walked that line really well. She was really, really good as well. I mean, obviously, she's a young and upcomer. She's playing opposite Bette Davis, so when all the attention and awards and love come along, it's probably going to be for the icon, and it was in this case. But man, she was really, really strong in this too. It was shot really well. The music was solid. This was just a fantastic movie. What great storytelling all the way through, and it was exciting, right? Like I was really into the sort of the twists and the turns of the melodrama. It's like, oh my gosh, you can kind of see the train wreck coming, but you're not really sure how it's going to land. And it all landed with, Eve is a terrible person who manipulated everybody and wormed her way really into this world with the help of some decent people and one terrible person. It all kind of worked out for her, but as soon as she got to the top, there's the knock on the door of the next one coming along kind of to do the same thing. It is utterly fantastic storytelling. It was 2 hours and 15 minutes, felt a lot quicker. It didn't feel like anything longer, but let's face it, in 2025 now, movies all are 3 hours long if they're if anyone's going to consider watching them. But I really felt like this was really strong execution all the way through. I had no idea how witty it was going to be. I wasn't sure what the genre was going in. I didn't know if it was going to be kind of a comedy, or if it was going to be more of a drama. Certainly was more of a drama, but it did not hide away from comic elements at all. It was often really funny. The characters were incredibly sharp and witty. I know it's an affect, but I'm kind of a sucker. I'm kind of a sucker for that old Hollywood dialect. I'm not sure if there's a region in the world that actually uses that pattern of speech. Eve used it in the movie, and she was supposedly from Wisconsin, which is absolutely not how they talk there. So it was kind of a Hollywood affect. I'm not sure why. I need to study that as to why. I'm sure there are books and YouTube videos about why people used to use that affect as they performed. It's sort of like a New England British muddled kind of thing. I don't know why it worked. For this movie, it works in particular, though, I feel like, because everyone's playing performers or performing as performers. So the idea that, like, it's not jarring anyway. There's a lot of great old movies that use it. I mean, The Wizard of Oz had it, and Dorothy was from freaking Kansas, and it's not problematic. But here, I think it's a lot of fun because you have someone like Eve, who is from Wisconsin, but she's using that accent, which is really funny because Eve is a constructed personality of somebody who wants to be that East Coast theater star. So of course she would, even if her accent was like something out of the film Fargo, would probably go ahead and take on that Minnesota nice or whatever, would go ahead and take on that performative that voice. It was so good. This movie was so much fun. I highly recommend if you're watching this on YouTube, go watch the entire thing. This is a beautiful movie. I'm prone to fits of not being able to sleep, and I would like to take a look further down the road, do some more classic cinema that I haven't really seen, because this was absolutely delightful. All right, I will see you soon, guys. Thank you.